Higgins.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just, from the very beginning, this was nothing more than an attempt to cut taxes for corporate America and for the highest earners among us. If you make over $750,000 a year, your raise next year will be 8% just because of this tax cut. And everything else has been a money chase to find a way to pay for this massive tax cut for corporate America and for high-end earners. And unfortunately, middle America got hit hard. My friend Mr. Reed talked about the $1,100 savings that a Western New York family will realize, well, you know what, it just got obliterated because there's no longer a deduction for state and local taxes. The Treasury Secretary said that these tax cuts would pay for themselves, that they're revenue neutral, and there will be an additional $2 trillion of economic activity beyond that. That is a bold-faced lie. Nobody believes that. Not the Tax Policy Center, not the Wharton School, not Goldman economists from which the Treasury Secretary came from. The White House Council of Economic Advisors had the audacity to suggest that these corporate tax cuts would result in a $4,000 to $9,000 annual increase in middle America. Not one of my colleagues on the other side had made reference to that as a benefit. Another bold-faced lie by this White House perpetrated against the American people.
If the gentleman will suspend, you are over the guardrails on decorum in this committee.
Corporate America. ExxonMobil made $8 billion in the last 5 years. You're not even giving them a tax cut because they didn't pay any taxes. General Electric made $29 billion over the last 5 years. You're not giving them a tax cut because they don't pay any taxes in the last 5 years. In fact, they get a tax rebate. Apple made $74 billion over the last 5 years and paid no taxes. But what's even more egregious than that, Apple took the technology that was paid for by the American taxpayer, touchscreen technology, the internet, global positioning satellite, voice-activated personal assistant. They took all of that technology, innovation that was paid for by the American people. It is in everybody's smartphone in this room. And they went and they made all of their smartphones in China. Mr. Chairman, it wasn't always like this. It wasn't always like this in America. All the captains of industry 40 years ago believed it was their responsibility to help balance the economic interests of all of the stakeholders in the economy, the owners, the managers, the workers, and the communities within which they operated. Charlie Wilson from General Motors, Reg Jones from GE, Irving Shapiro from DuPont. Now they've abandoned that to put all of the profits that they make to their shareholders, screwing the American people. There was a time where you had economic growth and the wages of American workers were pretty much consistent. 97% for growth, 95% for wages. Today, with 93% economic growth over the past 30 years, real wages have grown by 9%. By 9%. And you're giving a tax cut to corporate America. This is fundamentally unfair. This will not produce any good growth in the American economy. This will saddle future generations with more debt. Everybody talks here about, their deficit hawks. Where are all the deficit hawks? Where are any of the deficit hawks? Every credible economic review of this plan says this will drive up deficit, this will produce no good economic growth, and this benefits wealthy people in wealthy corporations at the expense of middle America.